You're listening to the Run for Your Lives podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome to the show. I'm Daphne.
And I'm Pake.
And this is the Run for Your Lives podcast.
This episode is the slasher film You're Next, directed by Adam Wingard and released August 23rd, 2013. It was marked as 2011 on IMDb as release, but maybe it was like previously released at like festivals and stuff at that year. Because IMDb does that sometimes. So if it's like on a circuit before wide release, it'll have that year. So
yes. It premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival in September 2011. It's part of this Midnight Madness program. But then the studio held it for like 2 years because it had a bad test screening. So that's why it was released, it had a debut at the film festival, but it didn't get to the box office until after. It's interesting because it was kind of looked at like a flop at the box office, but the budget was only $1 million and it grossed like $26 million. So
net positive in a pretty good way. They did well for what they were doing.
Yeah. I feel like it's underrated because there are a lot of cool little things about this film that are fun and kind of redefined. Especially the final girl. If you look at Erin as the final girl in a movie, she really was pretty badass. And that's all I'm going to say to start. Is that I think she was badass. She's the female heroine that we were all waiting for in a horror movie because she really fought right from the beginning. So she didn't really she didn't have a super big arc. It was just kind of, you underestimated her until she started taking over and trying to keep people safe. I mean, if they had listened to her, who knows what would have happened, but they weren't very good at listening.
No. It's kind of a dumb family. Yeah. I mean, it really, jumping ahead notes a little bit, but one of the big things I was like, these people stand no chance. Is after the mother is killed and they all go up there and they find her body and it's like, oh no, let's go back downstairs. And then nobody even has the thought until Erin says it way later. It's like, wouldn't you like make that connection? That means there's somebody in the house. And they're like, oh no, she took an axe to the head mysteriously. Uh-oh. Like, clearly somebody's in there and they're all just like, we're good now, right? No, you're not.
No, you are not good. On what planet do you think you are good?
Right.
There's no way that you're good.
And then he's just like, I'm going to go back upstairs and check on her. Yeah, maybe she's better now.
Yeah, no. You know what the funny thing is? She was the only one. When it was just her and Paul, I believe was her husband's name. Mm-hmm. When it was just Aubrey and Paul there, and she heard a noise upstairs, her first inclination was to get out of the house. No one ever does that. They're usually just like, well, let's go check it out. No, she was right. She wanted to get out. Thank you.
She made
doing something right.
The chandelier is like shaking from like something moving upstairs. And then Paul's in the basement and she's like, clearly that's not right. And then of course, like after, he goes outside. After the first time that he's snuck up on by one of his children upstairs. But he goes down and it's just like, yeah, there's nobody in there. And then she's very like, I'm sorry, I'm just so silly. I'm like, yes, silly Billy, you. Like, you're just so silly, of course. Because everyone knows that when floors creak and move hard enough that the chandelier is shaking, I mean, that happens all the time, right? So, yes, you're so silly. No. What are you thinking? Clearly it could be nothing.
Before we dig too deep into this, I'll do a few of my behind the scenes notes so that we can kind of get those out of the way, because I feel like we are already moving through this film and there's a lot of interesting little things to talk about. At least I have notes about them. So compared with whatever you have, together we should have quite a fun discussion on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Your Next was filmed in Columbia, Missouri, was directed by Adam Wingard, as Pake has already mentioned, who also directed 2016's Blair Witch, and another movie we covered on this podcast called Godzilla vs. Kong.
Yeah, when I saw his name in the movie, it was like directed by, and I was like, why is that name familiar? So I had to go and look it up. And
yes.
Like, Godzilla vs. Kong, like, that is quite a shift from this movie to that one.
Yeah.
Like, all right, how did he land that?
I don't know, and I feel like he hasn't directed a lot of movies either.
No, not really.
He's maybe 10 at the most. So yeah, it was really interesting to find his name associated with this one, because I did the very same thing. I recognized his name and thought, where have I...
So like, we've mentioned that name
covered
before.
Something by him?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I went back and looked it up. So the screenwriter, Simon Barrett, also was in this film as the Tiger Mask Killer, which is the first killer that Aaron takes down with her. Is it a meat?
She had a meat tenderizer.
What is it, a meat tenderizer?
Yeah, because I'll go ahead and throw in one of my notes on that, because it became a running joke line throughout the entire movie for me. Because, because I thought it was the Lamb at first, because the Lamb is the guy that we see chase down Kelly, and he's got the crossbow. And so he breaks her through panes of glass. He punches her. He punched the highlights out of her hair. I mean, punched her through a glass door.
Oh, my.
But like, he punches her and she goes through the glass door, and then he like smashes her through a glass table. I was like, this guy loves breaking glass with this woman. And so, of course, they get back to the house and she comes flying through the window. I was thinking, oh, it's Lamb, because he's got to break her through one more pane of glass before he's done. But then it was Tiger. But I thought it was the Lamb, because I was like, oh, she has a meat tenderizer. She's like, she's tenderizing lamb. And then I was like, oh, it's the Tiger. Dang it. This joke doesn't work as well with that.
No.
And so then when the Lamb walks in and she's still holding the meat tenderizer, I was like, there's still hope. This pun can live. And then there were so many opportunities for her to use it on the Lamb, and she didn't. And I was so upset, because I was like, no, you're supposed to tenderize lamb. That's funny. Why are you not playing with this joke with me? Come on, Aaron.
Oops. She didn't get the memo, Page.
No, she didn't
know that you were planning.
I was like,
that.
There's a lamb mask and a meat tenderizer. The joke writes itself. What are you doing?
Well, as I already mentioned, it premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival, September 2011. It is considered a cult classic, has a 79% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes. It's 94 minutes long, Pake.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you give us a quickie synopsis so we can move on and dig deeper into this wonderful slasher film?
I know. I have at least 70 more notes about meat tenderizers. No, I'm kidding.
I bet you do.
No. All right, synopsis. When the Davison family comes under attack during their wedding anniversary getaway, the gang of mysterious killers soon learns that one of the victims harbors a secret talent for fighting back.
Yes, she does. One of the first things I wrote down was that they have no idea what they're in for, because Aaron grew up on one of those survivalist compounds, and she's going to know how to deal with this shit. And they really had no idea. Right. I mean, Crispin didn't even know that she... I mean, I'm sure this is a part of her backstory or her history that she kept secret, because she didn't want him to think that she was a crazy, to look at her like she was a crazy, survivalist.
Right. But it
turns out maybe had he known, he might not have included her on this trip.
Right. She kind of ruined everything for him, at least. But yeah, she was interesting. What is her? She's like, she seems to be very in her element. She jumps immediately to, well, we're going to do this and you do that. And she's giving people orders. And it's like, all right, we're just going to do this. We need to board up the windows. We need to close this. We need to lock all the doors. People are like, who is this lady?
Who are you? Yes.
And so, yeah, when we get the reveal when she's talking to Z, that she's like, yeah, she was raised by survivalists. I was like, oh, yeah, that shows.
Yeah. Yeah, she knows how to set traps. She knows how to take people out. One of my most favorite kills in a horror movie happened in this one, because it was just the most bizarre thing that you could imagine. And then seeing it happen,
I think I know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
Thought, man. But I'm not going to talk about that yet, because one of the things I wanted to point out before we started going further down this road is maybe the reasoning behind this entire movie, where basically 2 of the 4 children are trying to kill the rest of the family because of money.
Mm-hmm.
And I think once all of the kids arrive, you start to realize that there's definitely 2 sides. There are 2 children that are the favorites and 2 children that are maybe on the outside.
Yeah.
I think, Drake was definitely his dad's favorite. And Amy definitely was Aubrey's favorite.
Yeah.
And I think that Felix and Crispin were really frustrated.
Yeah, well, Crispin was like the failed writer. And Felix was kind of... We didn't really know much about him and what he did. But there was like a line where Drake, which I only call him Drake like once or twice in the notes. I have other names for him throughout most of this.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, because he says something, about you, like, miscreant, or, of course you would, when he brings up the phone jammer, which is funny because we see him using one in the trunk of his car later. And I was like, callback, because he's the one that mentioned it. But he's like, of course you would know what that is and how much it costs you. He's like, basically like, you miscreant, criminal kind of stuff. It's like, apparently so he has a past, and like, so we don't know much about him, but yeah. That's that hint.
Yeah, he's definitely... Yeah. And Drake really bullies Crispin, too. Like, at the table, he's talking to him about the inappropriate relationship he had with Aaron being his TA, and just every possible minute to pick on his weight, to pick on different things. Because Drake obviously is the more successful brother and more favored in the family, and...
Yeah.
You get to see that dynamic a little bit.
He's awful. Drake is awful, because that's the first time we see them is they've already arrived, because Crispin kind of had slept in, and he goes downstairs and Aaron has already met them. And Aaron, I have my note where it was just like, oh, Aaron, I see you met my brother Douchemeister and his wife, Gina. Because he was awful. He is like the perfect definition of a dick, a douchebag. Like everything he can do is just to like poke at somebody else.
And poke.
He's one of those people that can't stand to see anybody else enjoying anything, and he has to sour it.
No.
And we see that.
He doesn't want anyone else to get attention. Mm-hmm. I feel like he wants all the attention for himself. So.
Even in like one little thing, when they're having the conversation, their dinner arguments and stuff before everything pops off and freak out begins, where he keeps calling Tyreek. And it's like a small little thing, but I was like, I have a feeling that's on purpose. It just makes sense that that's what he would do. It's like, this is my boyfriend Tariq. Tariq. Okay. So Tyreek, like I could see him doing that.
Yes. Yes, being the asshole. He really is. Agreed. Which
Tariq, I have a lot of notes on just random things, but that arguing and bickering going on, the look on his face, I was like, so here he is listening to all this, questioning all of his life choices that have led him here. And then, of course, he notices something strange outside and goes over there. So I was like, well, I know he was thinking, oh, God, someone shoot me, please. But I don't think he actually wanted it to happen right then.
No, I don't think so either. No, I think the point was he just wanted to get the hell out of there. He's probably thinking, oh, my God, Amy, your family's crazy and I need to get away.
Mm-hmm. Like, I think I saw a guy with a crossbow over there. Hey, help a brother out.
Hey. Oh, my gosh.
I need out of here.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm. And then those arrows go flying. Douche nozzle McAsshole gets shot in the back, in the shoulder. So that's fun.
Well, at least he was trying to save his mother, which I guess is a show that he isn't always about himself.
Yeah. Yeah. And then his wife, Kelly, just keeps yelling, "We're gonna die," a couple times. And
yes.
So, family bonding. For at least she had a couple more lines, because at first I was like, oh, you're trying for the role of Kelly. Here's your script. It's just we're all gonna die a bunch of times. Yeah, you got it. Cool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she's screaming. Everyone's freaking out, and Aaron's just kind of like pulling people to the ground and telling them to take chairs to run and grabbing a poker before she grabs her chair so that she can get out of the way and just trying to keep everything under control. Like she knew exactly what to do. Lock the doors, lock the windows, put an SOS sign out, you know? She was on top of it. Yeah,
she's definitely the most capable, as I mentioned earlier.
She is.
So we'll talk more on Aaron. She's finally the person that's like the obvious, like, someone is still in this house. He's like, you think the guy who murdered my wife is still in here? Yeah. Why you don't?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, she was great. I like that she was so quick to think about exactly what, I mean, she knew what they needed to do, but she also was able to, like, implement things and put things into action very quickly, even though I wish that people had listened to her more, because there may have been more people survive. I don't know. The trio of mercenaries that were trying to kill them, they may have tried other tactics. I mean, I don't know.
But we see how resourceful she is. And even, like, quick on her feet. She goes upstairs and finds Paul, and then the fox appears, and then she just flies out the window. Bat! And she's gone. Except, she doesn't really fly away too much. She just kind of falls to the ground. Glass to the knee.
Glass in her leg.
Not super pleasant, I assume. But and then that scene, her pulling the glass out of her leg, I was like, no, don't. No, thank you. I don't. Goodbye. That's. I can handle all kinds of level of gore and violence and over the top ridiculousness, but that's like the one thing in movies, like that kind of, like, because I think I talked about that when we covered Crawl. I think I had a little thing about that on this too, because I was like, it's like those little things, like, slowly pulling glass or something out of a, where it's a puncture, or stuff with broken bones. I think that's what happened in Crawl, where I was like, where you're just really focusing on it for a few minutes. I'm like, no, I don't like this. Like Eyes, like the remake of Evil Dead from a little while back, where they have the whole scene with just like the eyeball. I'm like, no, don't do this to me. Stuff with fingernails, until like any scenes where like they're torturing somebody, like pulling off their fingernails. Like, I can't do it. That stuff, like, I instinctively cover the screen or like look away somewhere else. I'm like, just let me know when this is over. I can't. I can handle so many things, but like, there's just something in me, like those kind of things. I'm like, I don't need that in my life right now.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. Those kind of things kind of creep me out. Most of it, knives creep me out anyway, and I love horror movies. I don't know how I'm able to watch them without a lot of, like, stress or freaking out. But knives and scissors, like cutting off of limbs and things, that freaks me out more than anything. Like cutting off fingers or limbs or whatever kind of freaks me out.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yes, there's like those little things, like body horror kind of stuff. I'm like, not too big.
Not down. Although there is a movie called American Mary, which you may or may not have seen, that's really good. It's by the Soska sisters, and it's really well done. And it's a bit much, but it's really good.
Yeah. Again, her resourcefulness and stuff. Which goes back in the house after that, and then her putting the boards down in front of the window. When there's the extra board that she uses as a decoy, because they're going to see that board and then step back on the other one. I was like, nailed it. Sorry, that was too easy. Too easy. I had to.
But Barry, are you listening to this? Are you listening to this?
That one was way too easy, but it had to be done.
Of course you did. Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's just great seeing what she's able to pull off. And then even whenever she kind of escapes and then jumps back in and she's hiding, and they never know where she is until she's ready to strike, basically. Except for like when her phone rings, which was kind of a weird thing because it was letting her know that a message was received. Why was it ringing? Other than maybe she got a message from 911 that was saying your message has been received, because she had sent a text to them. Which I've have known that, which is kind of cool. You know, if you find yourselves in a situation, maybe not exactly like this, but you know, you can text 911 and then they will receive it as a voicemail, and it's like that automatic, like the computerized like reading of what you typed. So she sends that, and then finally service comes in enough to send it, and then she gets the notification from them, and it sets off her phone. So she's found out. So that was like a really smart move of like jumping outside the window and then going back inside to where she leads most of them away trying to chase her, but she's still there. Unfortunately, she makes a little bit of a sound with some of like the broken glass, and the lamb goes to check it out and stab. And again, she had the tenderizer. Why not use it? The joke is there, please. Or even the axe.
Know what she did?
She picks up the axe right after. Lamb chop. Come on. Something. But no, you're just going to stab him in the face with a little knife and kill him. I can't work with that. There's not a pun I could come up with.
No, but she did do things that a lot of heroines have not done before, which is making sure they're dead.
Yeah.
After she kills them.
Yeah, she's like, hit him once and then smash, a couple more times.
Yes, she took care of them, which does not usually happen in a movie. You'll see the final girl, the heroine, axe them with, hit them with an axe and then walk away, and then they slowly get up and come after her again. Like, that's what usually happens. This time, she didn't do that. She actually took them down and really took them down.
Yeah.
And that leads me to a question, Pake. Who do you think had the most kills in this movie?
Erin. I think
Absolutely.
For sure. I mean, she took out all three of the masked guys. She also took out Felix and Z and Crispin and the police officer. That was her contraption.
Yes. Yeah, it was Erin. I'm down with it, though. She was great. I really liked her. She was resourceful. She took what she had and figured it out. Her parents raised her well in this survivalist compound.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that resourcefulness. I loved the last masked assailant that she took out was Tom, the fox, and distracting him with the camera flash, and then she
that was so
logs herself another kill. Which is great.
People can't see this. They can't see the video, but I just looked away.
Like, oh my God. I know. And again, like you said, she makes sure he's dead. Keep smashing. What does the fox say?
Yes.
Nothing. He says nothing. He's dead.
Oh, man. Yeah. Here we go.
Yeah, she's
and
a
then
badass.
Crispin.
Yeah, and then Crispin comes back. Oh my God, I can go all of my notes with Crispin. He brings her up there, and I don't know. It's just like, let me bring my girlfriend to this thing that I know everybody's going to die. He says that the plan was that she would be the survivor and the witness, but like it didn't seem that was the plan, because she seemed to be kind of like in the line of fire, and people tried to kill her the whole time. So maybe you should let the people you hired to kill everybody know that part of the plan also, because it didn't seem that they did.
Yeah, I don't think that they did. But I also don't think that he was banking on the fact that she was this resourceful.
Right.
And able to handle what they were throwing at her.
Yeah. But I like, because he's Crispian is how he spelled his name. There's an A in a second A, or there's an A in there for some reason. I don't know why. Crispian. Is that how you spell that? I guess, because autocorrect didn't try to fix it. It was like, yes, that's right. So I guess it is. But because he just like takes off, and you think that he's like trying to be heroic, and he goes to find help, but then we get that little final twist of whenever he calls Felix's phone at the end. It's like, is it done? Because I'm a little bitch and I had to step out, but I can come back now and gain my reward, right? And so that's where he was in on it, and he just really reveals everything basically to Aaron on the phone, just listening. And then he's trying to talk to her like it's all okay. Like, because money, see? So it totally makes sense.
Yes, it's all about money.
And I love the line where he goes, we'll figure this out. I know it's hard right now. It's like, but and he uses the line, his exact quote, whatever we're going through right now. I laughed. I was like, that's what you're going to sum this up as? Is whatever we're going through right now?
Whatever we're going through. This is a pretty serious thing that we're going through.
Yeah.
You just had your family killed. I just had to kill your brother and his girlfriend with the best kill that I've ever, it's not the best kill I've ever seen, but it's one of the kills that will live down in infamy because it was so incredible. When Erin is in the kitchen, she kind of pushes Z down and she takes
it's her own
him down.
Personal blend of secret,
a blender.
Yeah, it's her own special blend of self-defense, for sure.
Yes, it is.
She finds a way to get ahead of both of them pretty easily.
Yes, she does. And I do know where you were going there, and yes, I'm choosing not to laugh.
But, yeah,
man.
But Crispin's way of being like, but see, like, now we don't even have to share with my brother and Z, so, like, yay, you did all this good work. And I love that she's just not having any of the bullshit. And, like, she steps forward and just stabs him in the neck. She's like,
yes, nope. And he says, why?
Yeah, why? Why do you think? And I have in my notes, she stabs Crispy in the neck. And then I was like, I'm just going to call him Crispy now, because he got burned in this whole deal. And so he's done.
But her actual response to that was, why the fuck not?
Yeah.
And I think, you know what, at that point, she'd been through enough. Nobody was who they were supposed to be.
What's one more
she'd had enough.
Yeah.
What's one more? Her parents raised her for it. She was ready to defend herself, and she did.
Yep. Man. And then after why the fuck not? Stabs him in the eye. He's dead. And then she gets shot in the shoulder by the police that she called, obviously.
Yes.
I mean, she does look like quite the serial killer right now, for sure.
Yes, she's covered in blood. Yeah, she doesn't look great.
It's not, because even in the credits, it's like, suspect, written on her name, like, we kind of see it's like, yeah, it's not good. And especially the officer that finds her ends up getting sliced by Chekhov's complex axe booby trap that she set up.
Oh, man.
It's not going to help her case at all.
No, it's definitely not. That is for sure. I like her character. She may end up on a list at the end of the season just because I feel like she was badass and we need a little bit of that.
Yeah. So yeah, that's all of my notes on Aaron and Crispin. I'm already like,
I had one quote, basically, when he looked at her and said, I've never seen you act like this before. And she just looks at him and says, well, it's a unique situation. I'm thinking, yes, it is. Your boyfriend is trying to kill his parents so he can get money. You have no idea he's involved. Because this time that I watched it, I was paying attention to different things that happened to see if I could figure things out ahead of time, like him and Felix, trying to figure out if you'd notice when you watch it a second time.
Yeah.
Ahead of time, if you could have figured it out. With him, it's not as much.
Yeah.
Other than when he goes out to the car the first time, he stops long enough to wipe his forehead, and he's just kind of being like this is no problem. He's moseying out there like, oh, okay. No big deal. And yeah. But then the second time he disappears. And it's like, yeah, where the hell did he go? And then you find out that he's involved. That was kind of the second part of the twist. And it wasn't as easy to find out that he was involved as it was with Felix. Because there were things that Felix did right from the beginning that should have been a red flag.
The only thing I can think of with Felix is the cell phone jammer thing where he was like, you can pick one up for $30. It's like, how do you know that? And he's called out on it, but that's really the only one I can like think of.
No, there are other things that he did. And individually, they don't stack up, but when you put them all together, it's a pattern of behavior.
Interesting.
The way that, there's definite pattern of behavior with him. And I figured out, too, throughout that he and Z were in a relationship, but I got the impression he's set this all up so that he can get the money, and she's with him because of the money. Like, I don't think that they were really into a real long-term relationship.
Mm-hmm. Well, now I'm interested in these things that you, other than the jammer you caught. Enlighten me.
I will enlighten you. I don't have any puns. There are no puns within these thoughts.
No, then never mind. I don't want to hear it. No, I'm kidding. You have to mix in puns or it's...
We're going to have to bring Jerry on for some puns.
We'll have a pun fest.
You and Jerry can have a pun. You can have a pun fest.
It will be Pundemonium, and it will be so bad that you're going to have to lock us up in the penitentiary and be in trouble forever.
You will definitely
as
have
our punishment. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Z and Felix, I already touched on it a little bit. So the first thing that happens is when Tariq is hit, everyone else is down on the ground, but they're around the corner kind of standing up. Like, oh, okay, everyone's in here panicking, but we're already over here. Mm-hmm. They immediately got out of the way. Felix, knowing about the phone jammers, he was the one who came up with the idea that someone needed to make a run for the cars.
Mm.
And then he's really eager for Amy to run out. Like, he's super eager. Like, super supportive.
Yeah, because I have that notice. Like, Amy, so here's the deal. You're going to go run out of here, go to the cars, get help, full speed. Because he's the one that's like, we got to open the doors last second so she can go full speed out. And it's just like, you totally got this. So here's the thing. She didn't got this.
No. And his expression looking at the blood wasn't one of, oh my God, my sister is dying. It was more of this disgust. Like, ew. And that to me isn't a genuine reaction if you have someone that you love, killed in front of you. And he was just, even after that, he was still pushing for someone to run out to the cars. Like, okay, it worked once. Somebody died. You're really going to try to get someone else to run out again? No. And then when Crispin was going outside to get help the second time that he went out, Felix looked at him really irritated and says, "You're just going to leave us?" And I think it was because he knew Crispin was going to leave for a bit because he couldn't handle it. Mm-hmm. And so he was a little bit, giving him a hard time about it. Also, when Aaron is attacked by the man in the tiger mask, he and Z do nothing to help her. They just let her fight him. And then when his father, who has figured out that this is not just some random attack, is saying this to him, his father's throat is slit, and he doesn't try to catch his father. He looks at him like he's repulsed. Like, I'm grossed out by this.
Yeah.
And it's after that we find out that he is in cahoots with the three people that are taking over. So I think that is a pretty big pattern of behavior that...
Yeah, those are some really good catches. And, because after... their father is killed, and then he's just like saying, and then that's when the fox mask walks up, and he's just like, "How's it hanging, buddy?" Like they have this kind of, you really catch that, like, oh, that's the cool like twist moment because Father Paul, wrong thing. He is the father, and his name is Paul.
That's strange indeed, Pake.
But he decides he's going to go after the guy that killed his wife, and then he finds a piss bottle in the closet, vintage. So the guy's been camping out upstairs waiting for him for a while, and then just, damn it, my kids keep sneaking up on me upstairs while I'm searching for intruders. Which, good news, he found the guy. Bad news. He died. Yeah, he found the guy.
Yeah. Well, it's funny, and this goes a little bit outside of the Z and Felix world, but I thought it was clever that they were setting this up to be like a random home invasion. Mm-hmm. And they were setting this story up because they killed the neighbor and his little girlfriend. Like, I feel like that was part of the story they were setting up when they decided to have their parents kill this. Okay, well, we're going to kill the neighbor, so it looks like it's like a home invasion, continued attacks, like, in a row.
It's also strategic, too, because we see Kelly runs out and goes to the neighbor's house. Yes. And they had to, like, well, that's the house that's nearby. If somebody is able to escape the house, we don't need them calling for help. So the help that's nearby, we've got to take care of them, too.
Yeah. And, the parents, Aubrey and Paul, seemed surprised that Eric was his name, was up there. Because I guess he wasn't usually. So that must have been something that they figured out and had it taken care of.
Yeah.
Like, they had to take care of it.
Opening scene with those two was interesting. I was like, hey, boobs in the first 20 seconds. Not a big deal. Not a bad thing. Just pointing it out because I can. But then I took special note of, at that house, they have wind chimes that are made out of forks and spoons. Why? And then I was like, oh, the random opening of the movie Couple Are Dead. Cool. No big deal. That silverware ornamentation, they probably deserved it. Bad feng shui.
Okay. That's true. That is true.
And I guess Home Dude left his wife for some college girl, so he must have been very rich. Obviously, they have these weekend houses up there.
Yes.
So yeah, it was interesting. And of course, the You're Next is where we first get to see that. But I was like, guys, you wrote the title of the movie the wrong way on the glass. You can't read it. You got to think about that stuff. Come on. Now he doesn't know what movie he's in. You wrote it backwards for him.
Oh, no. Oh, my gosh.
He still thinks he's in Ghostbusters.
Really?
Yeah. He thinks he's in Ghostbusters, but you wrote the title of the movie on his window, but you didn't write it in reverse for him to see it. We've learned.
Okay.
So he's like, said, what are they trying to tell me? What's the secret message?
Yeah, you're next. It would have been even cooler, though, if Fox or Lamb were outside holding a mirror so he could look in the mirror and see what it said.
Yeah. Logistics.
That could have been interesting. Yeah. It's the little things. Little things.
Now, reflections and stuff like that were cool. That we got to see it played with a little bit. Aubrey's in the kitchen working on something, and we see the tiger mask. He was outside because Fox had been hanging out on the inside for a while. So Tiger was on the outside. Yeah. So we see the little, the mask, the reflection of the mask in the window, just watching. I was like, yeah, don't feed him or he'll keep coming back. Just
leave
him out there. And then, of course, when Kelly is banging on the neighbor's door to try to get help, and then we kind of see Lamb mask just appearing in the reflection coming up behind her before he punches her through the door. That was cool.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. I had that on my list of moments because I had a few different moments that I will talk about in a minute. I do have a couple more things about Z and Felix.
I do too. I don't know why I keep going on these tangents.
I think when I fully realized that Z was with him for the money was when they were in his parents' bedroom and she wanted him to have sex with her next to his deceased mother.
Yeah, that's a little much.
It is. And she looks at him and says, you don't want to do anything interesting. You never want to do anything interesting. And he looks at his mother and he says, I don't think that's fair criticism. And you know what? He's right. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's all I have on them. Do you have anything else?
Yeah. Let's see. have the note, it's like, can you really blame Felix for stabbing Drake like umpteen times? Because, I mean, his voice is really annoying. Shut up! Stop talking! Where? Okay, just stab him. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's totally fine. I've had enough.
Get it over with.
I've had enough of fuckface anyway. Just keep stabbing him.
Yeah.
I don't care about this guy. I never have. It's okay. And he has that line. He's like, "Why won't you just die?" I'm like, exactly.
Die.
I'm wondering the same thing, man. Felix, for once, I'm with you, bro. I'm with you. Just.
It might be the only thing I agree on with Felix.
Yeah. So, yeah, but it is pretty fucked up that that's kind of the twist that we get with Felix, is that he's hired these guys to murder his whole family, and then we find out Crispin's also in on it, but like, so that he can get the inheritance, not just from his parents, but then if it's an entire thing, that also his siblings' portions of it as well, or theirs, because Crispin's still going to be in it, but then they would split, but they would get Drake and Amy's portions of the inheritance also. So I still wonder if he didn't plan to take Crispin out too. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
I would not be surprised at all if he took Crispin out, because, I mean, to quote Aaron, why the fuck not?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's fun, she's in hiding and listening to Felix, like, yelling at the guy, like, just giving him exposition. And she's like, wow, I never knew all these things. But but it's great because then she's able to kind of turn on them, and that's where she has to end up fighting them. And I love the scene in the kitchen. We've talked about the blender and the knife and stuff when she kills them, but even before that, where she just throws the pot of liquid on him, and he's like, "It's not even hot," and then slips on it. So good. It
was perfect. It was perfect. I loved it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, shut up, Felix. I love how quick she dispensed with Z after she kills Felix with the blender, and Z's right there. She just kind of knife to the head over.
It's like, oh, yeah, you're gone too. Like,
no big deal.
I don't have time for this anymore.
Yeah, goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that as well. I thought, okay, take him out. Take her out. Now you're stuck with Crispin.
So that's all the notes I have on them. And all the...
Do you have any other random notes on anyone?
I might have some more on the killers themselves, but I think as far as the Davison family and their significant others and other random people, that is it.
I just have specific moments that I took notes on, but I feel like we can talk about that after we talk about the killers.
Yeah. So
if you want to transition to that, we can.
Sure. And it's just, I've talked about some of my notes with them, so it's just kind of moments with them that some of their planning and some of the things that they did, which were cool from just like a visual slasher movie standpoint, getting to see some of the kills and some of their stuff. Like the razor wire outside the door is a very creative move.
Yes.
And then I'm glad that you pointed out Felix kind of being the one that really took charge on this, because I didn't really pick up on that. Because my note, I'm like, well, I guess they expected a very certain person to make the run because it has to be at like her neck level. So it's like, so that's a lot of planning, but it makes sense now that you bring up, well, it's like, well, Felix is the one that was pushing for her to do it. Like, okay, so it was planned.
Yeah.
And then, of course, with Aubrey's death is her laying in bed crying, and then the dude just kind of comes crawling out from under the bed. It was super creepy, and I had to give props to that, how cool that was played off. And yeah, I wish the masks had a little more difference to them, because Tiger and Fox, I got confused so many times because I was like, wasn't he just outside? But now he's here. But okay, maybe it was the other guy.
Yeah.
They should have been a little more varied.
Yeah, it was hard for me to tell between the three. I mean, the Lamb was obviously, I think, the most ferocious as far as he took the most people out.
Yeah.
Except for Aaron. I mean, of the three, he was the one who had the most kills. He was really...
very brutal. But yeah, so the bed, but the Fox coming out from under the bed, cutting Aubrey from the team was really cool. There was a bit of a jump scare, honestly. I did kind of, for a second, I was like, damn it, I hate when movies get me. They get like a little mad because I'm like, no, you're not supposed to be able to do this to me anymore. But when Tiger Mask just bursts through the window and grabs Aaron through the window, and then she like stabs his arm to the window frame, which is cool. And then of course he disappears whenever she turns around to find another weapon, and then she turns around and he's gone. Which again, you did mention Simon Barrett, the writer of this movie, was Tiger Mask, which is cool.
Was the tiger.
And Kelly sticks around upstairs for a little bit longer to play a little game of peekaboo with Fox, and then under the bed, she freaks out, takes off running, goes outside. Lamb will handle it. Of course, Dickface goes outside for a little bit too, but then he nicks his arrow on the wire. That's such a weird sentence. And then pulls the arrow out and faints. Bitch. Didn't like it. But yeah, Kelly runs the neighbors to help, like we talked about, which of course not going to work because the reflection I thought was really cool. I talked about that. He punches her through the window, uses her to break a couple of other glass objects because he just loves breaking glass with Kelly. And then he decides it's time.
A new podcast that's coming out.
He decides it's time to stop. Hammer time. And she's done for. For those who are just listening to the audio, I know it seems like I'm laughing at my own jokes and puns a lot, but really I'm more laughing at her reaction on the video that you can't see. Is when I say a pun, her face just goes to like, fuck, why do I still do this podcast? Oh my God. Like, why am I here?
Oh man, why am I here? No.
But yeah, and then the last one.
Oh man.
Of course, Lamb comes back to the house and it's just Aaron hiding behind the door to the basement. And he realizes she's hiding there through the peephole and breaks through the door. Here's Lammy. He's coming for her. But then he's distracted by Captain Fuckstick and Aaron stabs the Lamb in the back for a little bit. He does get away. Again, she stabs him with a knife, but what's in her other hand? The meat tenderizer, and I'm yelling, use it! Use it! The pun needs to live! The joke must happen! And she just wouldn't help me with it. She wouldn't do it.
Pake, I think you're going to have to let that go.
I will never, ever let it go.
You're going to have to let it go. You're going to have to let it go. It's not going to happen.
I don't know if I can.
You got to. You have to. Yeah, you have to let it go.
It's like, you have the tenderizer in one hand and then you stabbed him with the knife in the other. Why? I need this.
Nope. Not gonna happen.
But that's all in my notes.
Okay.
No.
I don't think that the mercenaries really knew what they were getting into. I'm not sure that Felix and Crispin knew what they were getting into.
Yeah, she was the broken cog in the machine that ruined everything. The wrench in the works.
They didn't take into consideration Aaron being so strong and self-sufficient.
Yeah, these guys, these three weren't super impressive and like these like major assassins. But if Aaron was out of the picture, it wouldn't have been a problem for them because I could see Felix and Kristen being like, no, our family is all real dumb. Like, this is going to be an easy job. They're real stupid people.
Yeah, they didn't bet on Aaron being the queen of survivalists and being able to take them out with all of her little tricks. Because she knew what to do. And she just sprang into action with, we're going to lock the doors. You know, it was crazy. Locking all the doors and windows and not being afraid to react very quickly with a knife, a meat tenderizer, whatever she had at her disposal. Mm-hmm. She was ready to go.
Yeah.
She figured it out. Yeah. So that is all I have on the killers.
All right.
The only thing I have left in my notes are just basically some of the different cool moments in the movie that I thought were either filmed well or they were just things I thought were cool, basically. Cool. So I might as well get to those.
Yeah.
Again, I talked already about killing the neighbor to make it look like an attack in the mansion was part of this bigger home invasion racket. But I think you're right. They had to do it because they can't have him home in case Kelly gets there. Although they could have just taken him out then. I mean, really. I mean, what?
Mm-hmm.
They were kind of dysfunctional to begin with.
Yeah.
I like the way that they didn't show us Talia dying. We just see her kind of glancing when she hears a noise, and the next time we see her, she's dead.
Yeah.
I already said that Aubrey was so smart and wanting to get out of the house as soon as she heard noises. I liked the dramatic pause when Tariq is hit by the arrow. It's like quiet as he turns around, nothing, no sound, and then boom, pandemonium, everything goes crazy. I liked also how Amy running slowly to the door, like it was filmed very slowly. And then after she hits the wire, we see her on the floor and then it goes straight to the wire and the dripping of the blood. To me, it was with Amy screaming or all of the screaming in the background, I thought was cool. You mentioned Kelly pounding on the window to get into Eric's and the lamb just kind of sneaks up and you see that reflection. I loved there was a point where Erin has killed the lamb and she's just standing in the window and she's holding the axe. It's just very, I don't know, Friday the 13th or Michael Myers. It just was really strong to me. And the final thing was the flash photography in the basement. I thought that was really clever. I thought, there were some clever things in this movie. And overall, it's one that I watch from time to time because it's just clever. There's clever points.
Didn't even mean for a pun to be out there, but it's a very cut and dry slasher movie. That's what it is. Like, there's not a lot of very in-depth and thinky stuff to it. It's a great background Halloween time movie, even though we're a little past that now, and this is coming out, and people are hearing it.
Yes, we are, but only not too far beyond.
Not by a lot, but yeah, I mean, it's one of those movies that, like, if you throw it into your kind of October horror rotation that you just got movies going and like to see, it's a great one to fit into that rotation for sure.
Some year I need to make a list. Maybe I'll base it off some stuff I heard on Wilhelm. I want to make a list of horror movies and watch one every day. It's just, there's never enough time. I mean, there's never enough time to do that.
There's not. I've tried it. I tried it a couple of years ago to do 30 horror movies in 30 days for the month of October. And then because then I usually would do other stuff on the Halloween day itself. But I did attempt it and I think I made it to 18 or 19 or something. And it's just I
can't.
It seems easy to take 2 hours out of a day to watch a movie every day, but it's harder than it sounds.
It's a lot. It is. I would have to make sure they were all an hour and a half at the most. Otherwise, I don't know. I think it would be too much. You wouldn't have time at night, working during the day. You wouldn't have time at night for much else. And there are just other things that I want to do, like this podcast. So I would need to be doing that. So.
Because I want to see what day I made it to. Oh, no, I made it to 17. So not as great as I should have. But no, I saw some really
close. Close.
I saw some pretty interesting movies in there. And me just kind of going through these, then maybe, we can find some that we haven't covered on here yet that maybe I'm teasing some stuff that we might touch in the future. But
all right, that sounds good.
Yeah, I started with Gerald's Game, which what a way to start.
Ooh, that was rough. That's a one time for me. I don't think I'll watch it again. I think it's one time and done.
Day 2 was The Babadook, which was
great
interesting.
Movie. Like that one.
Day 3 was Little Evil. That's a fun one. I love that movie.
I have not seen that one.
I want to say it's Adam Scott and Donald Faison, and it's great. That's one we may circle around to. Day 4, Tucker and Dale versus Evil, which is one of my absolute favorite movies of all time.
Don't kill me, Pake, but I've not seen it.
Okay, so that's going on the schedule for sometime in the future. Good to know.
I've always meant to, because a lot of people I know have seen it and love it. I just have never seen it. There have been times I've almost watched it and I just didn't.
Day 5 was Creep, which, if you've seen those movies.
Mark Duplass?
Yes. Those are awesome.
Yes, very good.
Day 6 was Train to Busan.
Very cool. I like the way those are filmed. Love that.
Because this was 2017 when I did this. So
it was newer. Yeah. I mean, Train to Busan was newer at that
Day 7
time,
was Coraline,
which I have also not seen, but I've heard really good things about it.
Day 8 was Cult of Chucky, because that was the new one that had just come out that year.
Chucky movie. Maybe the third one.
Day 9,
we really do,
which we definitely have to cover on here at some point. Day 10, The Cabin in the Woods.
Another Run for Your Lives podcast favorite.
Yes. Movie 11, Dawn of the Dead. 2004, Zack Snyder, of course.
Of course, yes. I know this because you had never seen the 1978 version when we covered it not that long ago.
Day 12, The Conjuring.
Ugh, such a good one.
Day 13, Jeepers Creepers. And day 14, Jeepers Creepers 2. Those back to back. I don't know if we'll ever cover those movies. Probably won't, just because without going into it, you can look it up on your own. There's some stuff about those and the behind stuff that not even getting into that. But
yeah.
Day 15, The Babysitter.
I have seen that.
That one was really fun.
I have seen that one.
16.
There's also a sequel to that, by the way.
Is there? I'll have to check that out.
Yes, there
16
is.
was Would You Rather, which is also Netflix.
Oh, and you don't like the eye thing, so that must have been rough.
That was And then 17 was As Far as I Made It looks like, but it was a movie called The Awakening. And
I think I've seen that one too.
Also Netflix, at least it was at that time in 2017. It has a very young, Isaac Hempstead, right? Bran from Game of Thrones. Very young. And then, I think that is the furthest I made it. So halfway, a little over halfway through the month. I did pretty good, considering. But yeah, so those are some movies people should check out, because I think I had a pretty good half a month or so of those.
Those are great. I've already now got some ideas for films we need to add to our list. That keeps growing. The more we record, the more the list grows. Yeah. And we also appreciate when you guys send in movies for us, too, because we have gotten a few suggestions that we've been able to add to our list, and some I haven't seen before, so it's kind of cool. I love checking out something I haven't seen. I have a feeling if we're going to cover Tucker and Dale versus Evil just because I haven't seen it.
Yeah, no, that's going to have to happen now, for sure.
That's how things usually go here. Like, I feel like we get to that point. Well, now that we're back from that tangent.
Right. I don't know where that came from, but hey, if anything, you got a little list of movies that you can watch.
Yeah. So, do you have any other notes, or do you want me to jump into production notes?
What you got?
All right.
Production notes are good to go, because I am all done with all my notes. I have nothing left to read. You should know I have nothing left when I'm looking through photos on my phone of movies I watched 5 years ago. 4 years ago.
4 years ago. Math is not a prerequisite when you're doing a podcast. It is not. Okay, so Simon Barrett was inspired by Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None mystery, as well as screwball comedies when he was writing this film. Director Adam Wingard had also shared that he wanted to do a home invasion film, since those were the only types of movies that still scared him. So I thought that was neat. Larry Fessenden, who had the small role of Eric Harson, who met his unfortunate end at the start of the film, was involved as a writer with the video game Until Dawn and its spin-off game Until Dawn Rush of Blood.
That's a VR thing. I think it's just a VR thing.
Yeah.
Because I never played that one.
I've No, but I liked the other one. The original was great. Some of the conversations that took place around the dinner table were improvised and based on real-life experiences the filmmakers had with their own family members. As you can imagine, watching that family interact, even at the beginning when they were just praying and everyone had their heads bowed except the group of FOA that were kind of like the final people in the film, which is Felix and Z, Aaron and Crispin.
Mm-hmm.
It just makes me wonder, like, what... I know what conversations my family will have around a table. I'm just curious about what other people talk about. Like, what really goes on. It's interesting. So, Barbara Crampton is a former soap opera star, and she is no stranger to horror movies. She was in the 80s film Reanimator and also Chopping Mall, From Beyond, and she has a cameo in one of the Puppet Master movies. And then outside the 80s, she was actually in a Puppet Master movie.
Yeah, she's it's great that you mentioned soap opera background because she was very over dramatic. It's like, no, that makes sense.
Yes, doesn't it? So Nicholas Tucci, who played Felix, sadly passed away last year after a private battle with cancer. It was very sad. I remembered when that came up. It was the end of 2020 when it happened. And, yeah, it's very sad. He was like 38 years old, so he's still pretty young. Ty West, who played the documentary filmmaker Tariq, is an indie filmmaker responsible for The House of the Devil and The Innkeepers, as well as The Sacrament. I don't know if you've seen that one, Pake, but it's interesting. Yeah. It's kind of like a Jonestown type situation. It's interesting. He also directed one segment of the movie VHS. Another tie-in to that, Joe Swanberg, who played Drake, is also a film director and, like Ty West, directed part of or one of those segments for VHS.
I want to say that, and I could be wrong, but other people involved in this movie also did segments for VHS. I want to say even like Wingard and Barrett, maybe the writer and director, did too.
That would not be a surprise.
And that's maybe how they know, where they cast a lot of this.
Yeah.
Is because of that. Yes, Wingard did for sure. Mm-hmm. And then Simon Barrett, yes, also did. So yes. Ha.
All right. But was that before or after this film? VHS.
VHS was 2012.
After. Right, so
it was after. So they maybe met doing this and then all went on to work together on that.
Yeah. It's cool how
other way around.
You meet people doing whatever job, not even only in filmmaking, but it's cool how you can meet people and then connect with them later on different projects just because you get along really well and you know about their work ethic and how they can, in movies bring a character to life. So it's kind of cool how that worked out. So the beautiful home where filmmaking took place was empty for 12 years. The owners had listed the house for sale, but the house was not really in great shape. The director and team made a deal to fix up the house in exchange for being allowed to film there. They renovated every room, and they dealt with things like broken glass, rusty hinges, rusty pipes, broken pipes, anything you can imagine. But by the end, the house had been completely renovated. I think that's pretty cool to let someone film in your home that you're trying to sell, and they take care of fixing it up. The lovely song, which I actually found to be annoying, that played in the background in the opening was Dwight Twilley's Looking for the Magic. The killer's masks were inspired by the video game Hotline Miami, which I've never heard of.
Me neither, but all right.
The majority was filmed with a handheld camera to increase the tension. And finally, they had considered a sequel where Aaron was arrested, sent to jail, and taking on the cousins of the killers. But that never came to fruition. I'm glad it didn't. I think it was fine.
Like something that should have done. It should have been.
Yeah, no.
So, yeah, we're good.
I think ending it where it ended here is sufficient.
Mm-hmm.
One other point, though, I just thought of this. One other point I had, I liked the way in the credits at the end, they listed the actor or the actress, their character, and put a picture of them, except for Aaron, who was still alive,
mm-hmm.
of them dead.
Yeah.
So that was kind of interesting.
It was laid over the blueprint of the house, too, and a lot of them had the room that they died in also.
Oh, my goodness. I did not know
picture
that.
was sitting. Yeah. Because, like,
That's
over, cool. You just said his name, Nicholas Tucci, with
mm-hmm.
Felix, it says kitchen on the blueprint where that picture is sitting, and then with, like, Kelly, the actress who played Kelly, it was, like, living room. And then, yeah, so it was, they even had them sitting on those little areas, yeah.
Yeah. So that's all I have for production notes. I feel like this was a lot of fun. You definitely had lots of fun with it, with all of your puns.
Mm-hmm.
It's too bad that our listeners can't see my reaction to some of these because...
It would be great.
I definitely, yeah. I'm used to it, though, guys. I'm used to his puns.
I can tell when I'm in a really good mood while doing all of my podcast prep, because then it becomes very jokey and punny and silly. And then when we record it, it just makes me in a better mood because then I get to torture you with all of those jokes and puns. So,
all right, Pake likes to torture me. I'm living in my own personal horror movie as he tortures me with his puns. Yes. I don't know if I could do you and Jerry together podcasting. That might be too much. Now. I know it has to happen.
Jerry, what movie do you want to cover with us? We're doing it. Let us know in feedback.
Yes, please. Let us know what movie you want to cover.
Speaking of that.
I love this sound.
It's time for some feedback. Let's answer the feedback phone.
Grab it.
All right, for feedback this week, we have one call from Steve. Steve's coming through for us with the live Steving. Not anything else from anybody else, but hey, it's a holiday week and a movie that I don't know how easy it is for a lot of people to find, so you get a pass.
Yeah, I'm wondering what Steve has to say about this one. So let's just get into it.
Hello, Pake and Daphne. This is Steve, and I'm just starting Your Next. I have no idea what this is about. I've never seen it. I don't think I've even read a synopsis of it. So, okay, here we go. Okay, can she really hear twigs snapping outside when she's inside? Oh, I guess there's no... Is it open? It's like an open porch? So the sliding door was open? What? Why do you... Okay, I'm not giving a mic drop for the title of the movie being scrawled in blood. Always a good call to pick up some good liquor on your way to dinner with the respective in-laws, I guess. This family definitely puts the dis in dysfunctional. And I don't know what this girl's going to find when she comes to the neighbor's house. Okay, well, damn. That's one way to stop a dinner party argument real quick with crossbow bolts or arrows. Well, it seems that Aaron knows what to do in this situation. I don't know if that means something or not, but yeah, it's sexy though. What the crap? So one of them is in the house and one of them is outside the house. Just attacked the mom and killed her, and Aaron attacked one. I don't know. I'm confused. And this guy still has the arrow in his back. I don't know why that's funny to me. And there's a title of the movie again on the wall in blood. What the fuck? So Kelly there's a tripwire outside the house. Is this guy with the arrow? He pulled the arrow out of his own back and my gosh, there's way too much going on. Well, that's sensible to figure out that one of them is still in the house. Yeah, Aaron, fight back. Get this guy. Oh, dang. This son is in on it. And Aaron is definitely striking back now at this point. Oh, I don't know if the electric hair dryers or whatever she has works that way, but damn. And she just knifed old girl in the head because she's in on it too. Oh, dang. And this guy, he's one of them. Oh, I don't remember his name. He's the brother. Oh, I just had to pause it for this guy when he's talking to Aaron, the son. He's talking to Aaron, I don't remember his name. And he's saying, how could we have known that you were so good at killing people? Wait, and who just shot her? Who is this guy? Just shot Aaron. Well, I guess that's the end. The cop gets it from the door booby trap. All right. Sorry this was so long.
Thank you, Steve. Thanks for your
reliving the movie. Go taking a ride with you. Yeah, I was thinking right off the top when he was like, I haven't seen a synopsis. I don't know nothing about this one. I was like, I was already ready for, okay, the twist when the siblings are involved. I'm ready to see his reaction to that since he has no idea.
Yeah, you took us on an adventure, Steve, with your live streaming this week. Thank you so much for sending it in. We know it's a busy week for folks in the U.S., so we really appreciate it. If you would like to submit feedback, you can do so by going to our Facebook page at facebook.com/runforyourlivespodcast. You can email us at runforyourlivespodcast@gmail.com. Tweet at us on Twitter or send us a DM at RFYL Podcast on Twitter. On Instagram, we are at Run For Your Lives Podcast. And if you are enjoying the show, tell your friends. We're available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, pretty much all the podcast players. We are on YouTube as well. Go to runforyourlivespodcast.com for all the links you'll ever need and give us a review on Apple Podcasts, as that's the best way to share the love and get us out there even more. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And speaking of sharing the love, I'll go ahead and throw around what's going on in the podcast universe around us. Give some plugs here. My other podcast, Strange Indeed. We are still pulling double duty, triple duty, like 2.5 duty.
You're real busy, Pake. You have a lot going on.
Because we are covering Lock and Key Season 2 from Netflix over there, as well as on those episodes, we've been doing a Great British Baking Show, little extra section at the end. Of course, the finale is this next week coming up. So next week's episode, we'll have our Great British Baking Show finale. That's been a lot of fun to talk about. It's great because we're talking Lock and Key and we're all like, oh my God, there's demons and plots against people and violence and mystery and magic. And then the next thing after that, we're talking about like, yeah, they did a great job with their bakes, and the cake was moist. And
it's a different kind of magic.
Who would have known that an ingredient like this would have been great? Yeah. No, but it's been fun. And like, honestly, like we're getting like emotionally invested in these like finalists that are left. We've been following them the whole time. So it's fun to kind of hear us nerd out about British people baking. But it's been a blast. Right. And then also on Strange Indeed, me and Rima are covering Dexter, New Blood. So we've got episodes of that coming out every week as well. That's been incredible. I mean, as huge of a Dexter fan as I am, I wasn't sure how this new like revival show was going to go, but I've been so in love with it so far. 3 episodes in, and man, it's been so good. It's been a blast to cover. So check that out if you're a fan of Dexter as well.
Yeah, it's definitely must-see TV on Sunday nights. Mm-hmm. I feel like it is exceeding my expectations right now because, like you, I didn't know what to expect with it. All I was hoping for was something better than the ending we got on the prior show.
Right.
So far, they're delivering, so I'm very happy with it. And your podcast with Rima is a lot of fun to listen to because you guys bring up things that I either didn't notice or I kind of was thinking, and it's cool to know someone shares the same thoughts that I do about the show.
Cool. Glad you're enjoying it. Hope anybody else listening is enjoying it as well. Also on the Podcastica Network, where that is at, House Podcastica with Ben, Wendy, and Greg covering Wheel of Time right now on Amazon Prime. That's been great. I'm currently listening to the 2nd episode. I'm like in the middle of that right now. My listen on their coverage. I've seen all 3 that dropped on Amazon Prime. It's really good, actually. Me not knowing anything about it, I'm enjoying it a lot, and their coverage has been really good, so check that out for sure.
Yeah, it's on my list.
And then, and then the Walking Dead cast, of course. Walking Dead World Beyond has only got like a few episodes left, like 2 episodes left. They're adding into like the finale of that. And it's been getting really good as well. And Jason and Lucy have been talking about that this week. Peter, Lucy's partner, joins them. And that was really cool to have him on there and stuff. So they're talking, World Beyond. Also talking Fear.
Let's not talk about Fear.
That's all I'll say about that.
Let's just let that go.
They're talking about World Beyond, and it's been good.
Yeah, let's let that go because it's better to pretend it doesn't really exist.
Our friends over on Panels to Pixels are covering Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Now that is out widely for people to watch, they're breaking that down, talking about that over on Panels. And then TV Podcast Industries also talking about Wheel of Time, like House Podcastica is, and kind of along the lines of the Marvel stuff. Hawkeye is out now, and it's driving me crazy that I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. And so that is on the plan very, very soon among all of the Thanksgiving plans and busyness that I'm dealing with. It's going to happen. I'm going to watch it maybe tonight. I just don't – who needs sleep when there's Hawkeye? So we'll see what happens.
It's so hard because there's a lot of great TV out. I'm watching a show called Yellow Jackets.
Which I've never heard of.
It's amazing.
And then I looked into it after you said you had watched it, and I was like, this looks like it could go either way. Like, I was like, this is such a weird concept and such a – but it's like – even like Rotten Tomatoes has like a super high score right now. So I'm really intrigued. I might have to add that to the list, the short list, the really quick prioritized list, and jump into that pretty soon.
Yeah, I've watched the first 3 episodes. It's kind of like Lost meets Alive meets Lord of the Flies in some weird, twisted way. And I think they've done a great job casting it, so I hope you do watch it. Maybe it's something we can talk about on here sometime.
Yeah. Does it fit? Is it?
Potentially, yes. There are some things about it. Yeah.
All right. I'm throwing this out there. It's not official. It's not even part of our look forward special that's coming up next week. But hey, we like playing around with different stuff. So we might have a little episode or 2 recap of a TV show.
I know. I love when we do that.
I'll have to jump in and see.
It's different. It's cool. It seems like a great way to segue into the episode that we're going to have coming out next week. Because we are going to talk about movies that we'd like to cover in the future. Pake and I are bringing a list of movies to the table, and we'll talk about them. And we are hoping that you guys will submit some as well, so we can figure out exactly what should take priority in our big list.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, with Thanksgiving was this week, and everything's just been really busy with all my other podcasts and with holidays and traveling and all of this stuff. So we're like, man, we really need to get an episode. We want to talk about something, but like adding a movie and prep and all that in. I was like, what do we do? And so we brainstormed a little bit, and I was like, well, we do these look back specials as our like season finales. What if we had a play on that and did a look forward special just as a random episode to pitch each other some movies without spoilers, you know, kind of what we want to talk about in the future, maybe some movies we should cover. And we'd love to hear from you guys. So get your feedback in before we record on Saturday. Yeah. So you've got like till tomorrow.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to this the day it releases and you have some movies for us that you'd love us to, like, you know, get them to us as soon as you can. And we will definitely read your feedback, listen to it, and talk about stuff that you would like to have us talk about as well.
Definitely. I'm looking forward to doing this one. We're recording on a different day because, like Pig said, it's Thanksgiving week and our usual record day is Thursdays. So this week we're going to be recording on Saturday instead of our usual Thursdays. So please do send in your feedback. You can send it on Twitter, Instagram, email. I've given you all the ways that you can get in touch with us.
Oh, yeah.
So, and with that, we have reached the end of another fun, scary, amazing episode of Run for Your Lives. I'm Daphne.
And I'm Pake.
And if you have to run, you better run for your lives.
Bye-bye.